Good morning, everybody, and welcome to TLC Live. I'm Andrea Gomez.
And I am candidate Orlando Sanchez for what? 3 more days.
3 more days,
3 more
yeah.
days. Today's Wednesday, so Thursday, Friday, and Saturday until 7 p.m. I'm a candidate for public office.
Yesterday ends early voting, and elections are Saturday, December 9 is the day that many people go and vote on elections day. I did it the first day at 8 in the morning of early voting.
Yeah, I sure hope so because early voting ended yesterday at 7 p.m. And here's the sad thing, Andrea. Let me be very honest. I have campaigned for the last 5 or 6 months for the position of city controller in Houston. And without exception, everywhere I go in the city, people want to take 5 or 10 minutes to talk about the problems in the city of Houston. The number one issue is crime, then infrastructure, the roads, the water bills, the lack of police protection, the slow response by the Houston Fire Department because of lack of equipment. Everybody wants to complain. So I'll listen to complaints gladly for 5, 10 minutes. It takes 2.5 minutes to park and vote. You only have to make 4 or 5 selections. And as of yesterday, remember that the city of Houston is about 2.7 million people. I think about 80% of those are registered to vote. Only 137,800 people voted. Now let that sink in. In a city of 2.7 million who constantly complain about the services and the corruption at City Hall, only 137,000 people bothered to go vote. It takes 2.5 minutes to change the trajectory of the city of Houston, improve the quality of the representatives that go to City Hall and work for you. And yet, very few of you will go do it. So I tell people all the time that the average person, the average voter, Andrea, gets all excited about voting for the President of the United States. A very weak position if you look at the Constitution. The president is the executive branch, but the power in federal government rests in Congress. And the turnout is less in congressional races than in presidential years. But I ask people all the time, when was the last time the president picked up your garbage or responded to a police call or sent an ambulance or rehabilitated your local park or even fixed your street? The president doesn't do any of that. And yet we all get wrapped around the axle about going to vote for president. I think that's great. I just wish we had that kind of turnout for the positions that really matter, which are your local positions.
Absolutely, and it's very sad. Also the way that the media is been managing this, at least we know that ABC 13 took the time to go interview you and explain what is the race and explain that we are in runoff because not many people knows that they are and that we are in runoff. So at least they did. I don't know if other media reach out to you.
Yeah, Channel 26, Greg Grugan at KRIV did a good showing of the candidates
And
and
that's
their
it.
positions. The Isaiah Factor on 26, Channel 26 does a good job. Tom Abrams at Channel 13.
And
But,
the
but
Spanish media,
nada,
thank you very
nada.
much.
The Hispanic media, which the Hispanic community represents about 50% of the population, almost 50% of the population of Houston Harris County, zero interest in municipal elections. Zero.
And it's at least three candidates that are Latinos. It's Julian Ramirez,
Roy Morales,
Roy Morales,
Orlando
and
Sanchez,
Orlando
y
Sanchez.
Richard Cantu.
And Richard Cantu.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
there's four Hispanics running citywide, and no one at Univision
Or Telemundo,
or
or
Telemundo
Estrella, or nobody.
covered the race.
No?
No.
And I bet you that probably they didn't even bother to
I
really
don't know how they.
emphasize every day that we are in early voting, that we're runoff, and many people don't know about that. And I'm gonna tell you on defense of many voters, which is it shouldn't be an excuse. But back in my time on television, the only resource to get informed it was TV or radio. The traditional media that we call it traditional media these days. People right now, as these days, they don't watch TV.
No.
They don't watch TV. So they hardly get informed. They don't care anymore to get on to watch the news. People are like, oh, I don't want to watch the news. It's always the same. It's misinformation. It's fake news. So people lost interest on watching the news. So on their defense, um, people are, I don't know where they're getting the information. Maybe they don't even care to get the
Well,
information.
it's obvious people don't care. If
Absolutely.
137,000 people voted early for the entire, 10-day span that we had elections, only 137,000 people bothered to take 2 minutes to go vote.
And let
It's
me ask,
obvious. Let me just say another thing. Hold that thought.
but let me ask you something before you go on that. Um, Back in the time that you were running for city council member and also for mayor, the numbers were like that, or
No,
is just now these days?
the numbers. In fact, in 2001, we had a historic event in Houston. We voted more people in the runoff than the general election. That's never happened. So, but people used to turn out, probably about 400,000, 380,000 people
Big
would vote.
difference.
Today, 137,000, despite the fact that the city has grown
Yeah.
in population. But let me tell you what happens. People don't understand this. People complain all the time. Let me give you an example. You know that the Papa's restaurant family lost a contract at the Houston airports because Mayor Turner wanted to bid it, rebid it, rebid the contract until his buddies from Florida got the contract. And so what happens is that the people voting, that the people making the decisions about the next leadership of the city of Houston are the same people that have had their snoot in the trough for decades. All of the contractors and subcontractors and vendors at the airport, those are the ones that are motivating people to go out and vote. And that's sad because the rest of you are complaining constantly about traffic, about the road conditions, about flooding, about crime, about corruption. And yet you have 2.5 minutes on Saturday to go vote and make a difference. And very few of you will do that. It's sad, it's tragic, but it is a reality.
Absolutely. So I want to
So,
you.
go vote. You have 12 hours to do it on Saturday. I understand it's going to rain, but take your umbrella.
I mean, raining or not raining. I mean, come on.
Right.
We need to do it. We need to decide. I mean, who the mayor position is very important. Your position is super important, and I wanted you to explain people what is your position, because not in every city the city controller, in some cities city controller is is appointed. Here you vote for that position.
Yeah.
So let's explain people.
Well, the city controller, if you want to think about it in the private sector, is the same thing as the chief financial officer. It's essentially the person that runs the checkbook, pays the bills, deposits the checks, makes the investments, issues the debt, but more importantly, it conducts audits of the departments and contracts entered into by the city of Houston. So it's a critically important position. We don't make policy. The city council and the mayor make all the decisions, but we come in and we check to make sure that the tax dollars are being adequately spent. And so it's a very important position. It's a sovereign position. What I mean by that is the city controller doesn't work for the mayor or the city council. We do report to the city council on the financial condition of the city every month, but we answer to the people of Houston. So you have an independent voice that works for you, and it's absolutely critical. Let me also explain why we have runoffs. You have to have a majority of the vote to win a position. And so for mayor, for example, we had like 18 candidates, right, Andrea?
Mm-hmm.
And then for city controller, we had 4 candidates. It's the same thing in the city council positions. We had many candidates that were running. And so when you have so many candidates running, no one gets 50% of the vote plus one, that makes it a majority, over half, in November. So what happens is that in December, you have a runoff election between the top two vote getters. In the situation we're facing in Houston, it is John Whitmire and Congresswoman Sheila Jackson Lee running for mayor. Those are the top two vote getters, and you will make that decision finally the last day, 7 a.m. to 7 p.m., Saturday, December 9th, between Senator Whitmire and Congresswoman Jackson Lee. Same thing if you go down the ballot. you will have a choice between my opponent and Orlando Sanchez for city controller. And then you have the city council members in the at large positions and a couple of other district positions. Like, for example, you have runoffs in at large one, two, three, and four, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have a runoff in District G, which is Councilwoman Mary Nan Huffman,
Mm-hmm.
who's been challenged by Tony Busby. And so, incidentally, District G is one of the higher turnout
Mm-hmm.
districts. Even with that contested race, we can still do better. So, what I'm urging you to do, regardless of what the outcome is to cast your vote, have your voice heard, but make a decision to help change the direction of the city of Houston, which is everybody agrees is going downhill pretty quickly. So it's okay to complain, but your complaints really will not be effective unless you vote. It reminds me of the story that Council Member Michael Yarbrough.
Mm-hmm.
He is used to represent District B as in boy on the Houston City Council when I got elected back in 1995 through 2001. And Michael has a story he tells of a man traveling through East Texas, and he sees an elderly gentleman on a porch on a rocking chair. And as he walks up to greet him, he looks off to the right, and there's a dog at the end of the porch, and the dog is moaning and groaning. So the man says to the elderly gentleman on the rocking chair, "Why is that dog moaning and groaning?" He says, "He's sitting on a nail." And the man says, "Well, why didn't he get up?" And the old man says, "I guess it don't hurt bad enough." And that's Houston. We all
Mm-hmm.
want to complain. So that's why I say get up off that nail, take 2.5 minutes and go vote. Again, the final day for the runoff elections is Saturday, December 9th, 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. You don't have to vote in your precinct anymore. You can vote in any voting location. Those are listed on harrisvotes.com. So make sure you go vote, email a friend, get energized, bring a friend to vote.
Very important because the mayor is what the mayor and the position in the city of Houston is the one that impact our daily life,
Hmm?
not the president. The president, I mean, is a very important position, of course. Uh,
Yeah, it's important, but if you look at the presidential duties and responsibilities, and the Constitution says you coin the money, you regulate interstate commerce, you sign treaties, you provide for the common defense of the nation. That's pretty much the power of the federal government. I mean, it's grown over the years because they've like a carrot, they've held out dollars through departments of transportation, Department of Education, Health and Human Services, the Housing and Urban Development. And so the power of the federal government has grown tremendously with entitlements. But the powers of the federal government are limited. They don't do anything locally for you. And so the government that affects you the most is a local government.
Absolutely. So definitely we need to go and vote. Many people are going on vacation right now, and so going on the runoff on December is not. It's a big challenge. I can tell.
I can also tell you because a lot of my friends, the guys I go out and have a cigar and have a cocktail with, they're always complaining. They're bankers, they're developers, they may have a construction company, they may be home builders, and they're like, yeah, the city's going down the tubes and this and that and the other. Yet, what are they doing now? They're all out deer hunting, pheasant hunting, quail hunting down in South Texas.
So they didn't have the opportunity to vote.
They won't even bother to go take 2 minutes to go vote.
Yeah.
It's sad. I'm telling you, it's sad. But 7 months from now, I'm going to hear the same things about the complaints, about the crime, the lack of police, the lack of infrastructure. So go do something about it. Take a few minutes. Go vote Saturday, December 9th, between 7 a.m. 7 p.m. at any voting location in the city of Houston.
So today our show is very short because we just want to be here to remind you the importance not only to participate in early voting that ends yesterday, but to participate this Saturday because that's gonna be just your last opportunity to go and vote. If you didn't go and vote in the early voting, which is they give opportunity people to if you're gonna go on vacation, if you're gonna leave town or you and it's gonna rain. We don't know what's gonna happen on the day of the elections. So early voting is very important. Well, not anymore. We don't have the option anymore.
Right.
it ends yesterday. So Saturday is the day to go and vote. Um,
And we want to spice it up a little bit. I want to remind people that in a couple of hours, I will be on the air at KSEV Radio in Houston, which is 700. But you
what
can
time?
2 to 3 p.m.
2 to 3 p.m.
2 to 3 p.m. KSEV 700, which is Dan Patrick's radio station, the
Mm.
lieutenant governor. And we will be talking about the importance of election. We'll be talking to a couple of candidates. But let me also say that I'm trying to do something a little innovative. As you know, one of the biggest events in Houston is the Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo,
Yes.
right? Everybody wants to go to the rodeo. People don't get rodeo tickets. I have a suite at the rodeo. You've been to it.
Oh yeah, very
All the
fun.
food you can eat, all the drinks. And so, what I'm offering is a drawing. If you go to my website, it's orlandosanchez.com slash pledge. orlandosanchez.com slash pledge.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I'm going to check it in a minute. And you enter, you put your name in that form, pledging to vote Saturday. Marcus, you're checking it, right? If you pledge to vote this coming Saturday, we will have a drawing after the election. And we will pick two people, well, two tickets to join me at the Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo in our suite. And parking will be fabulous. I'll even pick you up. All the food and drink and enjoy the Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo. So,
So let's see,
Mark, was it? Pledge?
Donate?
No.
No. We'll get it here in a minute. So, yeah, just go to the website, orlandosanchez.com. The important thing is that you pledge. Did you do orlandosanchez.com slash
Pledge.
pledge? Let's see if Mark can put it up on the screen. There it is, right?
Yep.
Okay. I think Mark can pull it up on the screen. So it is orlandosanchez.com slash pledge. All it is that you're pledging to go vote on Saturday. And if you do, and you vote, because we're going to check it with the clerk's office. So if you enter the contest and you didn't vote, you're not going to be able to win. So we can do that because that's public information. And again, go to orlandosanchez.com slash pledge. Enter the contest. It's not really a contest. It's an, we're encouraging you to vote. And from the group of folks that pledge to go vote, we will do a drawing, and you will join me at the Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo in a suite, which you will thoroughly enjoy. I'll even be your Uber driver. I'll come pick you up. And
Uberto.
I'll pick you up, and then I'll arrange for a ride home for you, so you can enjoy some adult beverages. It is a lot of fun. Andrea's been up there with us. So, but
Oh
the
yeah, it's a
important
lot
thing
of
is
fun.
go vote.
I'm gonna send that to Hadi.
Has he voted?
Well, not yet. He's in College Station.
Well,
That's
then
my
he can't
son.
enter the rodeo drawing.
So I'm gonna send that to him, so that way we give him an incentive to come to Houston to vote.
Good. Okay, so folks, remember 2 p.m. today, Central Time, KSEV Radio. We will have a number of guests talking about the election. We'll have a few candidates. We'll talk about some issues. We'll run the drawing on there, and we will encourage people to sign the pledge to go vote. But again, December 9th, Saturday, from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. is the last day to vote in the Houston municipal runoff elections. You can vote at any location. You don't have to go to a precinct. Just bring your driver's license or some form of identification. Can be a passport, can be a government ID, or you can be your voter registration card. It's real easy, and it'll take about 2.5 minutes.
Así que es bien importante salir el sábado, vamos a decirlo en español, el sábado diciembre 9 para salir a votar por la segunda vuelta de las elecciones municipales de la ciudad de Houston, donde Orlando es el candidato para Contralor de la ciudad de Houston, y también estamos debatiéndonos para el candidato que va a ser el nuevo alcalde de la ciudad de Houston. Súper importante, además varias posiciones que son lo que llaman at large, o sea, es decir, posiciones que son de concejales que pues cubre toda la ciudad de Houston. Son bien importantes esas elecciones porque son los que van a determinar lo que nos va a pasar en los próximos 4 años en la ciudad de Houston, qué va a pasar con el crimen, qué va a pasar con la infraestructura, con las calles, con el precio de las facturas del agua que están tan altas, que inclusive hoy tengo entendido que en City Hall se está debatiendo precisamente reducir las tarifas de la factura de agua. De verdad que nos están llegando, a mí nunca yo había visto unas facturas tan altas y por eso es,
Pero de miles y miles
ah,
de
no, no,
dólares
no,
mensual.
claro, una cosa de locura. Y por eso es súper importante que salgamos a votar, porque nosotros estamos eligiendo quiénes son los que van a elegir y a decidir lo que va a pasar, no solamente con los impuestos, con la infraestructura, con las calles, con todo lo que determina la ciudad de Houston, y ellos son los que deciden. Nosotros decidimos quién decide por nosotros. Y si no salimos a votar, entonces no nos podemos quejar.
Y no te olvides que tenemos un concurso en la página web mía, es orlandosanchez.com, ¿cómo se dice?
Diagonal pledge.
Diagonal pledge. Si usted hace una promesa, ir a votar el sábado, vamos a tener una rifa para los que han votado. Le voy a invitar a 2 personas que asistan al rodeo de Houston el año 2024, que empieza ahora en febrero.
Ajá.
Esto en un suite
Una suite
privada, donde
privada.
hay comida, tragos, todo, y hasta yo los recojo en su casa y los llevo hasta el rodeo para que no tenga que estacionar y le mando un Uber para su casa, pero van a disfrutar mucho, así que lo único que tienen que hacer es una promesa, ir a esa página, es decir, vamos a votar, no importa por quién vote, yo nada más que quiero que ustedes voten, que la voz de la comunidad sea escuchada en el municipio. Así que esa es la página orlandosanchez.com/pledge y ahí pueden hacer una promesa, ir a votar este sábado para poner a su nombre en un concurso para 2 boletos al rodeo de Houston como mi invitados al suite privado mío. Incluye toda la comida, todos los traguitos, las Coca-Colas, las copas que quieran. Así que participen.
Bueno, y esta tarde a las 2 de la tarde te invitaron a participar en una estación de radio, en un programa que va a durar 1 hora. Creo que tengo entendido que también vas a estar con Roy Morales y también va a estar Julián.
Sí.
Va a estar Julián Ramírez, Roy Morales y tú. Van a estar hablando precisamente de lo que estamos hablando el día de hoy, de la importancia de participar no solamente en las elecciones municipales, pero el sábado en las elecciones de segunda vuelta, donde quedaron los candidatos favoritos de varias posiciones. Así que, ¿cuál es la estación de radio en
La
la que vas a
estación
estar?
es KSEV como Victoria y la estación es 700 AM en Houston, pero también lo pueden escuchar en línea a KSEV a partir de las 2 de la tarde, entre las 2 y las 3 de la tarde, y vamos a tener varios candidatos, varios diputados, vamos a hablar sobre los temas importantes y vamos a informar al público y motivarlos para que salgan a votar.
Así que lo más importante es salir a votar este sábado 9 de diciembre, y los polls cierran a las 7 de la noche y los abren a las 7 de la mañana, ¿verdad?
7 de la mañana a 7 de la noche.
7
No
de la
hay
mañana.
excusa por la cual usted no puede votar. Como que le he comentado a Andrea, hemos tenido las elecciones con anticipación ya por 10 días.
Ujú.
Y,
Terminó ayer.
y nada más que 138,000 personas votaron. De
Qué vergüenza.
2.7 millones de habitantes en Houston.
Qué
Todo el
vergüenza.
mundo quiere quejarse, pero nadie quiere ir a votar por 2 minutos y medio. Así que por favor, este sábado, día 9 de diciembre, vayan a votar entre 7 de la mañana a 7 de la noche en cualquier ubicación donde haya elecciones. No tienen que ir a su precinto. Lleve una identificación, un pasaporte. Tienen que ser ciudadanos norteamericanos. Tienen que estar inscritos para votar, pero una licencia de conducir, un pasaporte, una identificación militar, lo que sea, pueden votar. Y su tarjeta de votante también la pueden usar.
Absolutamente. Así que, well, thank you so much for being with us. And also visit us at texaslatinoconservatives.com, texaslatinoconservatives.com. I want to remind you that in January, at the end of January, we're going to have again Leadership Latino, which is our program on the TLC, where we're going to have a 2 days, well, a day and a half class that you can learn how to run for office. You're going to learn how to be a leader in your community, how the politics work, and what position will be a good fit for you. So definitely um, go register to Leadership Latino. It's at no cost. And if you're coming from a different, it's going to be here in Houston. And if you're coming from a different city in Texas, we're going to reimburse up to $200 the transportation, which is the gas, or if they
Airline
decide to
ticket.
fly. And also, we're going to cover the hotel costs and food. So it's at no cost at all. And where you're going to get is a lot of important information if you want to be a leader in your community.
All right, we'll see you guys next week.
Los vemos el próximo miércoles.
Go vote.
Chao, chao.